I'd like to call to order this work session for the Knox County Commission. Today is Monday, September 18th. Seated to my right is Vice Chair Gina Oster and Law Director Mike Moyers. Seated to my left is Ms. Kim Ellis and Ms. Haley Evans with the Knox County Clerk's Office. Would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Lundy.
Here.
Commissioner Derrick.
Here.
Commissioner Oster.
Here.
Commissioner Ward. Commissioner Schoonmaker.
Here.
Commissioner Hill.
Here.
Commissioner Lee. Commissioner Beeler. Commissioner Daly. Commissioner Jay.
Here.
Commissioner Frazier.
Present.
10 members present.
Thank you. I also noticed elected officials in our audience. Sheriff Spangler, thank you for being here. We appreciate your interest. I now turn it over to Ms. Lundy for our pledge.
Please stand. Salute, pledge.
All right, our next item is to set the agenda for this evening. The additions to our agenda are number 8, 46, 47, R239504 resolution. And at the end, we'll also be adding a discussion item per Commissioner Jay about the ambulance RFP. Tonight we are deferring 26 and 45. We have no withdrawals. Our non-consent agenda tonight is items 1 through 8, 25, 28, 29, 39, 41, 42, 43, 44, and 48. Do I need to repeat those? All right. Non-consent, 1 through 8, 25, 28, 29, 39, 41, 42, 43, 44, and 48. I see a light by Commissioner Beeler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Could you repeat the deferrals? I got 26 and I missed the second one.
Certainly, 26 and 45.
Thank you.
Any other need for repeating? Thank you. May I have a motion to set?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Durrett, second by Beeler. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Madam Clerk?
The first item is number 1, Resolution 101. It's a resolution memorializing Thomas Tank Strickland.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion?
Move forward without any recommendation. Thank you.
Second.
Motion by Lundy, second by Frazier. Is there any discussion? That was moving forward with no recommendation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
Item number 2, Resolution 102, is honoring Julie Thompson upon her retirement as a longtime exemplary school leader who has positively influenced so many young lives in our community.
Motion to move forward without recommendation?
Second.
Motion by Frazier, second by Beeler to move forward with no recommendation. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk?
Item number 3 is Resolution 03, honoring the Hardin Valley Academy, Ariel Hawks.
I'd like to make a motion for, to move forward with no recommendation.
Second. And would anyone like to join?
We have Hill, Frazier, and Oster on that.
Jay, Durrett, Lundy?
Full
everyone? Full
commission.
commission. Thank you all.
Yes, thank you very much. Motion is to move forward with no recommendation. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk? That's correct. We have no items on public forum.
Approval of minutes of the previous meeting.
Motion by Daly, second by Durrett. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk?
Drives and roads, acceptance of new county roads. A is Creek Bend Lane, B, River House Road, C, Upstream Lane, D, Lazy River Drive. They're all located in Creek Bend Farms, District 6. E is Cherokee Landing Drive, F, Dreamcatcher Drive, G, Tribe Road, H, Standing Arrow Lane, all located in Cherokee Landing, District 9.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Jay, second by Frazier. Is there any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Line item transfers, total amount of $17,418,753.83.
Thank you. Do I see it?
Motion to move forward without recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Jay, second by Schoonmaker. Move forward with no recommendation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Budget amendments, total amount of $15,726,736.48.
Motion to move forward without recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Jay, second by Schoonmaker to move forward with no recommendation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 7, spread of record, the Knox County Mayor's reappointment of Kenny Boatman to the Knox County Sheriff's Office Employees Merit System Board of Directors to serve a 3-year term expiring September 30th, 2026. Item number 8, spread of record, the District Attorney General's appointment of Caitlin Smith to complete the unfulfilled term of Robin Jones on the Knox County Employee Insurance Benefits Committee, which term expires December 31st, 2023. We're on page 4. Item number 25, Resolution 111. It's appointing an individual for District 4 and John Elliott, District 6, and reappointing Jonathan Repass, District 2, and Rebecca Longmire, District 8, to the Knox County Board of Zoning Appeals. Terms expire September 30th, 2025.
Motion to move forward with no recommendation.
Second.
Motion to move forward with no recommendation by Schoonmaker, second by Durrett. Any discussion? Commissioner Frazier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just had a question. Would it be possible when we have appointments with individual districts or individual names that we separate those out individually?
So
Instead
that
of grouping
we
them
can go
together?
ahead and approve the others? Are you wanting them to actually be listed as separate agenda
No, it's just a
items?
comment or a question for in the future. I'm not necessarily requesting it here. I'm just asking in the future, could we separate those out so that they're not lumped together?
Do I see any objection to this request? Commissioner Beeler?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No objection. I was just kind of looking to Mr. Moyers to make sure it would be okay since they're all for the same board.
Thank you. Commissioner Moyers, is there any issue with that? All right. I appreciate that recommendation, and seeing no objection, we will change that in the future to have districts listed separately. Thank you. Thank you for that, Commissioner Frazier. Next item. Oh, I apologize. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 28, Resolution 403, is approving a contract with Cannon & Cannon Incorporated for professional engineering consultant services for the design of the State Route 131 and Beaver Ridge Road intersection improvements project in the amount of $213,000.
Thank you. I had pulled this just asking for Director Snowden to just give a very brief overview of what's going to be done there. We have a lot of people that have been waiting a long time for this to happen.
Sure, be glad to, Madam Chair. Yeah, this project that the state representative got in the governor's budget last year, so we have a grant and an amount of $2.3 million to widen both West Emory Road and Beaver Ridge Road. There'll be turn lanes from where Carnes Valley comes in on the west end all the way to Copper Ridge on the east end. There'll be a right and a left turn lane. Also on the stem or Beaver Ridge Road, a fully actuated traffic signal. That project obviously is going to take some time. So one of the things that I've talked to the chair lady about is we've identified some additional right-of-way in there that was donated by Smithfield on their new development, and we will be installing a temporary signal in the coming weeks. It won't be the final improvement, but it will reduce a lot of congestion through there, especially for that eastbound traffic in the morning and afternoon. So be on the lookout for that, and obviously we'll process this project forward as quickly as we can through the state's process too.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any questions? I'd like to make a motion to approve this to move forward with no recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Hill, second by Oster. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
Item number 29, Resolution 501, is approving 3 memorandums of understanding with Carnes Fire Department, Knox County Rescue, and Seymour Volunteer Fire Department for the provision of fire rescue emergency services.
Thank you. Do I see a motion to move forward?
Motion to approve.
To approve?
Motion to move forward.
I'll change the motion to move with no recommendation.
Thank you. Move forward with no recommendation by Daly. A second by Jay. This was pulled from consent by Commissioner Frazier. I'll give you the floor, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I simply pulled this to recuse myself to avoid any potential perceived conflicts of interest.
Thank you. Commissioner Schoonmaker?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can we have somebody from Community Development to give us just a quick overview of this?
Thank you. I see our friend coming forward. If you just give your name, please.
Jenny Holden, 400 Main Street. Yes, Commissioner, these are our annual fire and rescue contracts with Carnes, Seymour, and Knox County Rescue. We do those based on a funding model that takes into account population and calls for service, and this is the one for FY24.
Okay. Is this the same dollar amount as the last contract?
The individual dollar amounts have changed just a little bit based on population, but the total, the $605,000, that is the same as it was last year.
Okay.
But Carnes, the population grew a little bit, so their contract went up a little bit.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Commissioner Jay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It was my understanding that, at least what I was told a couple months ago from the mayor's office, that no additional money was going to be going to the rescue squad until the state comptroller's report was finalized or in some shape and form in which we could review to make sure that county money was being appropriately used. So how did that change so quickly?
So what we are doing right now, Commissioner, is what we have reimbursed for them so far for FY '23 is $146,000. So they still have $150,000 remaining on their FY '23 contract, and we're holding that until the comptroller's investigation is complete. We've done a departmental audit. We feel like that there's about $13,000 in fraud that we may have paid in this year. So we're holding the rest of those funds. That being said, the person that perpetrated the fraud is no longer with the organization. They now have an outside accounting firm. They reported it to us immediately the day they found out. They have done everything we have asked them to do. They've been really good partners in this. We feel like there's no opportunity at this point with this new funding for there to be any problems at all. But we are still holding what's remaining on the FY '23 contract until the comptroller's report is completed.
Thank you for the update.
Commissioner Schoonmaker?
Thank you, Madam Chair, again. Do you have any indication from the comptroller or the treasury when they're going to wrap up their report?
I mean, we've been hearing in about 2 or 3 weeks for a while now. I think they're pretty busy right now, but I can't imagine that it will be much longer. It should be any day now.
Thank you.
Seeing no other lights, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Page 6, item number 39, Resolution 901, is approving a franchise agreement with Comcast of the South for a period of 10 years.
Thank you. Do I see a motion to move forward without recommendation?
Motion to move forward
certainly.
without recommendation?
Second. No, you're fine. Second's good.
Motion by Frazier, second by Beeler. I had asked to have this pulled just to make sure that everyone had seen the memo that Matt Myers had sent to us for clarification. Commissioner Durrett,
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to recuse myself from this vote.
thank you. Are there any other comments? Proper motion and second is on the floor. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Page 7, item number 41, Resolution 903, requesting the Knox County Planning Commission to review and recommend amendments to the Knox County zoning ordinance, Section 4.92, Standards for Wireless Communication Facilities, WCF.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to move forward without recommendation?
Second.
Motion by Frazier, second by Schoonmaker to move forward without recommendation. Do we have any discussion? Commissioner Frazier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I put this on our agenda. It recently came to my attention when assisting some of my constituents who had a cell phone tower application in their community and reviewing our current ordinance that there were a few what we consider fundamental flaws. So in working with Assistant Law Director Mike Moyers, some of the members of BZA, and some members of planning staff, we just feel like this needs a good going over, as they say. We discovered that in the ordinance, it's absent of a public notification requirement. But what it does include is an appeal deadline. So as you can imagine, that's contradictory. So we want to take a good look at this. We also found that before 2017, all cell phone applications were a use on review. Now they're broken into levels. We would definitely like to see these go back to a public process. And so in just working with them, that's what I would ask for support. We just want to get Planning Commission to take a good look at this and provide us with some amendments.
Thank you. Schoonmaker?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Frazier, in your discussions with the county departments, are we going to look at what the town of Farragut has in place for their wireless standards, because a lot of our county land obviously adjoins the town of Farragut, and they've got a very extensive policy that they worked on for quite a few months.
Yes, Commissioner Schoonmaker, we have a copy of that policy was provided to us by Vice Mayor Povlin, and we are going to take that into consideration.
Great.
Seeing no other lights, we have a proper motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 42, Resolution 904, expressing the Commission's commitment to protecting the innocence of children.
Thank you. Do I see a motion? Would you like to make a motion before discussion?
Yes, I'm motion to move forward without a recommendation.
All right, motion by Lee. Do we have a second? Second by Daley, with Daley requesting to be a sponsor. To be added, thank you. All right. And Commissioner Lee, I see you had your light on first, and I will certainly honor that, followed by Commissioner Schoonmaker. You had asked to have it pulled, Commissioner. That was why I had put you down. Is that incorrect?
That's correct.
Okay,
yes.
all right. Well, you don't have to speak. Thank you. Commissioner Lee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had some concerns about the original resolution after speaking with the law director and his recommendation that we take out certain language if Mr. Moyers will address that topic.
Sure. In the body of the resolution, second paragraph, there's language that originally that was very directive in nature. It would have prohibited certain or county employees or funds to be used for certain programs, activities, events, or institutions. The language of that is extremely broad. It is of a wide, how would I put it? It has a lot of room within these terms. To make it county policy, we felt would really require some definition in these terms that wasn't there. We think that it presented some substantial legal problems for the county. And we think that the entire resolution is really more a sense of the commission resolution rather than one that's designed to direct policy in Knox County. So we felt it was important to continue that in that paragraph. So the language that we suggested to be changed was to take out the part that directed that the mayor and other employees of the county do certain things or not do certain things, and make it more expressing the beliefs and opinions of the county commission. So that's why we did that.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to this resolution? Forgive me, Commissioner Schoonmaker, for taking that liberty.
Well, I was just going to say, when I read the resolution on Friday, I just contacted the director of Knox County Finance to see what kind of issues that would place on Knox County's finances, because I was concerned the way it was written originally that that could tie our hands in numerous ways. So now the resolution has been altered to have that taken out. So I think we can have an opportunity to decide on next Monday night what we're going to do.
Very good. Commissioner Jay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a question for the sponsor of the resolution. Commissioner Lee, I guess you authored this. Maybe you can just explain further, like what are you trying to, what is the problem you're trying to solve? Help me understand this. What does this help solve?
Well, Commissioner Jay, I can't say that it solves a whole lot, but it is taking a position of protecting the innocence of our children is what the whole resolution is about.
I understand that. I'm just trying to, like, is there a list of activities? Is there a list of events? Is there, it's just such a broad statement. Like, it's like everybody, of course, everybody wants to protect children, but it's kind of like a resolution saying, like, we don't like crime. I mean, what does it specifically do to help Knox County as a legislative action? And that's what I'm struggling to see what it will do other than just being a statement. And maybe it is just a statement. It's not going to do anything.
It is a statement. There's a lot of programs to fight crime and protect from crime. It doesn't necessarily do anything to change the crime, but this makes a statement that Knox County is being diligent and conscientious to protect our children from sexual violence, from all the things listed in this. Now, you're saying a list of activities, that is not defined in this. This is just a resolution saying that we are committed to protect our children.
Okay. I did have one question about one of the lines. I think it's on page 2. It seems to be I don't know the exact wording, but like an interpretive statement where it says, encourages activities which are wholesome, good, and honorable content, and activities should be promoted but by whose standards? I mean, that's it's just above the be it resolved, wholesome, good, and honorable content. But again, so it's so vague, like your definition of that may be different than mine and different than Commissioner Durrett and Commissioner Schoonmaker. I mean, how can it be so vague and not be everything?
I guess I'm just a little bit confused on what you're asking, because this is not a list of what activities are allowed and what they're not. It is basically just no different than when Nancy Reagan declared the war on drugs. It is saying we are dedicated to the innocence of our children. That's it. There's not a list of activities we're prohibiting or endorsing. It's just saying that we as a whole want to protect our children.
Okay, and my last question is, I looked up the language in this and found similar resolutions in a couple other places around the county that have introduced it or adopted it. I found one in Jamestown. Both of these were in Michigan. Jamestown Township, they first introduced something similarly to this and then used that as a stepping stone to defund and close libraries because of content they didn't approve of. And then at Olive Township, also in Michigan, they introduced very similar resolution, almost word for word, and then used that to begin limiting efforts to what the health department could and couldn't participate in. So is your intention to introduce this and then begin to look at health department libraries or any other Knox County and entity and specifically to start restricting or finding ways to focus on content, or what is this the precursor of?
That is not the intent. And I would like to say that Sumner County recently did pass the original resolution that I presented.
So
this
which
has been
county?
passed. Sumner County in Tennessee.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Daly?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I went on as a co-sponsor here because I've had the opportunity to go down to juvenile court. Didn't want to go. And go down to juvenile court. You can't go into the judge's chambers unless you're part of the court case itself. And I'm sitting here today right now, the youngsters are not being protected. The criminals are being protected. And that's the honest truth. It's sad that the laws are written, in my opinion, to protect the criminal. It's not to protect the innocent. And I've seen that firsthand.
Are there any other comments or questions? Seeing none, we have a proper motion on the floor. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Ma'am, I would like to pass. I'm sorry.
Yes,
Madam Chair, I would like to pass.
we have. Thank you. All right, that is a 9 aye, 1 pass, 1 absent. Next agenda item, please.
It is item number 43, Resolution 905, approving an amendment to the Knox County Sheriff's Office Employees Merit System Rules and Regulations to allow Sheriff's Office personnel to run for the elective office of sheriff or any other elected office without taking a leave of absence.
Thank you. Do I have a motion? Motion by Daley, second by Beeler, to move forward with no recommendation. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Daley, Beeler.
Same. I just wanted to ask the law director, thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to ask the law director, is this by the resolution, the body of it, to bring things into, what is the word?
Compliance.
With the Hatch Act?
Well, sorta. Until 2012, it was illegal for any employee of any entity that received any federal funding to run for partisan office. In 2012, that was changed, and now so long as your position is not fully funded with federal funds, you can run for partisan office. So before 2012, this requirement that they take a leave of absence would have been a requirement under federal law. It now is not. Now it's more a policy question. So we're not required to change it, but since the changes in 2012, you can change it. So it's more permissive.
Commissioner Daley?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Moyers, this is for all offices, correct? They can participate in
You're talking about all officers?
all elected offices.
Yes. Yes, it would allow anybody in the classified service to run for political office, sheriff, or any other office without having to take a leave of absence. They still could not do things like wear their uniform. There's a lot of things they still can't do, but they could run for office.
Thank you. I was looking to see if there's anyone from the Merit Council that might want to speak to this. I don't see anyone. Ms. Taylor, do you have any comments about this? All right. Thank you. She said that she had no comments. Seeing no other lights, we have a proper motion. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item number 44 is Resolution 906. It's approving an amendment to the Knox County Sheriff's Office Employees Merit System Rules and Regulations to require eligible corrections and patrol officers to have a valid driver's license.
Do I see a motion?
Motion to move forward with no recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion by Durrett, second by Beeler. Is there any discussion on this item? Commissioner Daley?
Yeah, just interesting, maybe the law director or Paula may know. Do we, or the mayor's office, is it required that you be 21 to drive a county vehicle? Does anybody know that you have to be 21 to drive a Knox County vehicle? Here comes Randy. He may know, risk management. Kind of hard to see turning an 18-year-old in a police officer's car. Thank you, Mr. Randy.
Hello, Randy Smith, Knox County Risk Management, 400 Main Street. Knox County has a policy, 16, well, there's federal laws that say 16 can't drive at work. 17s can with some exceptions. 18-year-olds can.
Seeing no other lights, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please.
Okay, the next item is Resolution R-23-9-504 that has been added to the agenda. It's approving a grant contract with the State of Tennessee, Tennessee Housing Development Agency for $40 million in pass-through funding provided through the U.S. Department of the Treasurer, an Emergency Rental Assistance Program, ERA-2, for the provision of eviction prevention and housing stability services. No local match required.
Do I see a motion?
Motion to move forward with no recommendation?
Second.
Motion to move forward with no recommendation by Durrett, second by Frazier. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
The next item is number 48. It's ordinance O-23-9-101, amending Knox County Code, Chapter 42, Article 2, Division 2, Section 42-64, Political Activities Restricted, to clarify that the sheriff's office personnel may become a candidate for elective office in order to comply with changes to the Hatch Act. This amends ordinance O-90-9-111, adopted September 10th, 1990, and ordinance O-22-6-103, adopted July 25th, 2022. This is on first reading.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion by Daly, second by Beeler to move forward with no recommendation. Do we have any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. We have no one signed up for public forum. Moving on to other business. Number 49.
Discussion of September zoning items, numbers 50 to 58.
Is there any comments that anyone like to make on the zoning items that we will be discussing next week? Mr. Schoonmaker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Number 57 that's in your district, I noticed something, it said on the application that was accepted by Knox Planning that property is serviced by the Clinton Utilities Board. Is that accurate?
I can't speak as a District 6 Commissioner to that specific question. I don't believe that we have Ms. Brooks here this evening, but that will certainly be something for clarification next week unless someone else would know.
Okay.
Did you have other questions?
Well, I think we'll reserve those then for next week, because we have 6 out of the 9 items are on consent, their consent agenda, I should say. Yeah, I think I'm good for now.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Beeler?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, one of mine, which it's two items, but it's one, really. It's a sector plan and a rezone. It's on consent.
What was that number,
It's
Commissioner?
51 and 52.
Thank you.
Apologies. Very small piece of property. I have no issues with it. I've heard no comments or complaints from anyone on it. Number 50, I do have a few questions on number 50, and I would just encourage you to reach out to Mr. Mullins. I believe he's representing the applicant, if you have any questions on 50.
Thank you. I would like to also make a comment on item 56. I will note for you that that is in a FEMA floodplain. And if you could go out and take a look at the property, perhaps before we vote next week, that might be very helpful if you determine your decision. Mr. Schoonmaker?
Thank you. In reference to that, also, if commissioners will look at the RAE zone, which probably hasn't been used for 40 years in Knox County, but it was set aside for large parcels with larger setback requirements.
Thank you. Commissioner Oster?
I've got one, which is number 58, and I deferred that from last month to this month. I have still not heard from the builder or the developer. Last time I spoke with Director Brooks, we really don't have a number of what he's looking for on this, and so, I don't really know what to do with that until we hear something, what he's wanting to do.
Thank you. Commissioner Jay?
I've just put my light on to get to the EMS thing, so I'm just kind of placeholding. I'm not zoning.
Commissioner Daly?
To answer Commissioner Frazier's question, I think he has to show up at this next meeting. He's already had his first chance, if not second chance. This would actually be the third chance if you look at it total. So you say you have not talked to him? Spoken with Mr.
No, Commissioner Daly. I have called him twice and also sent him 2 emails. So, I'm kind of in that situation. We do have some public comments on there. Chirp Pit is a rough road as it is right now. So, it's just not, not a great area. And then for you to not tell me what number you want, it's kind of hard to go from there. So we'll see. I guess we'll see if the applicant shows up Monday night.
Thank you. Item 54, Tipton Station Road is about 20 acres, and they got approved for 5 dwelling units an acre. That might be a little high for that unit there. So it's next to the high school. Then over to the right of it, you got, I think, 4 units to the acre. Across the street, it's 5 units to the acre. So if you start getting any calls or anything, you may want to drive out there and take a look at it. But it's right next to the high school. I mean, they could probably put a sidewalk from the subdivision, the new subdivision, straight to the high school as far as that goes. So, you got a question, sir?
Yeah, so this is 100+ homes.
No, I think I was told today by one of the residents, homeowners there, and it's going to be 72 homes.
On 20 acres.
On 20 acres.
But they're asking for 100 homes, sites, according to the filing.
I've got a meeting tomorrow. I think the site plan, I was told, only has 72 homes on it. So that'll actually come down to 3.7 thereabout per acre is all that'll come down to, which is, it doesn't matter if it's 100 per acre. You're only going to get so many on there, on 20 acres as far as that goes. We just got to be careful. I've got to be careful on the number because it's happened to all of us in our districts that we set a number and 3 years later, property sold, and that number is set. And instead of being a single family, it could be something else. So that's the main concern about setting the numbers. So, and if you start getting calls about anything, you might want to drive out and see if it's it's a good piece of property for residential.
Thank you. Commissioner Jay?
Still holding, sorry. I'm on the next topic.
Oh, I haven't forgotten you, I
Okay.
promise.
Okay, I just, this button doesn't work, so I just kind of threw
Okay.
that one on there. So
I have your item down, Commissioner
Sorry, I
Jay.
got it.
Commissioner Frazier?
having button
Thank you,
issues.
Madam Chair. Just a little bit of general information. I had just a question from a constituent asking why are we seeing so many RA versus PR, and I just wanted to, explain a little bit. These are smaller lots in areas with lower population densities, and usually there's one dwelling, and sometimes the dwelling is out of compliance. And so they're looking for a zoning to just get that building modification up in compliance so that they can modify. So just a little information to share.
All right. Any other zoning discussion? I apologize, Commissioners. I did not do a good job on that discussion of zoning. I will have that a little more orderly next month. Next item, please.
The next item was added to the agenda, discussion regarding the ambulance RFP.
Thank you. And this was a request of Commissioner Jay. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. If I could ask Mr. Vanderwait, Mr. Myers, and also we have with us the EMA Director, Public Safety Director, and a lot of folks here from the EOC that was activated last week. Lots of folks, just want to recognize them and say thank you. Colin is here. And mostly just want to say thank you for all of your hard work, but also wanted to ask you about sort of where are we in the ambulance contract? This is, we have an RFP, and a lot of constituents have just asked sort of what's the update on where we are, where we're going, what's the process? And I think, they're interested in learning how do we do this, because it only comes up once every 10 years.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Matt Myers, Knox County Procurement Director. Thank you, Commissioner Jay. We were very pleased that we received 4 proposals. We are beginning the evaluation of those probably in the next day or two. Obviously hard to work with schedules, so we will do this as expeditiously but as thoroughly as we can. We will give this RFP and evaluation our utmost attention like we would for any RFP, although we understand this has some different ramifications through all of Knox County. So we are in the evaluation phase. It is still what we'll call a dead phase. Timeline, we still hope to have this on October's agenda. That's the goal, and hopefully if we can, the committee really works hard and does their job and everything, then we'll be ready to go for you in October.
Okay. Thank you very much. I just thought I'd bring it up to give a general information, but also we had some, if anybody else has any other questions, and I know Dwight's been working hard at this. Mr. Vanderwait, I know I came in with like 1,000 questions last week, and I appreciate that you and Health Department and everybody sat down and went through everything in the RFP and a bunch of other questions about general health and welfare and how we work with hospitals and how we work with ambulance contractors and how it affects KFD and everything in between. So maybe, I don't know if you have anything else to add to that.
No, you're very welcome, Commissioner. We appreciate the questions and the interest. Just for the benefit of the chair and the body as a whole, we have asked Fitch and Associates to send a representative to the October commission meeting as well. They won't speak to the contract. They were the upstream consulting firm that did a system-wide overview, but their work really informed the RFP that was developed. And just to echo what Matt said, for us to get, in the current environment, for us to get 4 viable proposals really speaks volumes about the quality of work Fitch did for us and the quality of work that procurement did putting the RFP together. I don't know how many hours of our lives Kevin Parton and I have spent talking about this thing, but our biggest concern was that Jay Garrison would open the box on the day in question. It would be empty. Again, we have 4 proposals, all good and viable companies, and that is really what we want. So excited about the process. And I can't say enough about the work that Kevin Parton, Steve Hamby, and Jay Garrison and Matt Myers have done in this process. It's just been exceptional.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes. Commissioner Schoonmaker?
Thank you, Madam Chair. since the last contract was 10 years ago, how many times have we had to activate the emergency center because of no ambulance?
So what I would like to do, if I could, is just let's talk in the context of the current contract, and then if there were any other questions about the RFP, I would defer those to Mr. Myers, because we try to observe a bright, clear line in the solicitation and bidding process. So backing up to your question, Commissioner Schoonmaker, EOC activation is not unusual. I do think this is the first time that I can recall it being activated due to criticality of ambulance availability. There was some discussion when it happened that it had never historically been activated for anything other than severe weather event, that sort of thing. That's actually not accurate. It's been activated numerous times over the year for everything from exercises to hazmat events on the interstate to train derailments and that sort of thing. In this particular case, the fire service providers from both Rural Metro and KFD obviously saw in the system that there were a limited number of ambulances available. They saw an exceptionally high number of hospital holds, which is just a system problem that we are struggling with, like many communities, and continue to struggle with. And they saw that they had numerous engines waiting at incident scenes for ambulances that were obviously held up at the hospital. The decision was made to activate the EOC. Mr. Ickes stood it up and did an exceptional job. It was about a 3-hour activation. I just would recognize, a number of folks. Our own Public Safety Director, Brent Seymour, is here. Colin did exceptional work. Captain Robbie Nix from Rural Metro was there. Assistant Chief Mark Wilbanks from KFD was there. Also sitting in the middle of it, under extraordinary amount of pressure, was Anastasia Huddleston, who is a communications supervisor for GMR. Anastasia is here. Give us a wave, Anastasia. So she is sitting in the center of the room with Captain Nix on one side and Chief Wilbanks on the other. Steve Hamby, who also works for us, did exceptionally good work, and all of those folks are throwing questions and requests for service and things like that, and she is managing assets capably. We just couldn't be more pleased with how it went. In a perfect world, it won't ever happen again, though.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Durant?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to reiterate the appreciation for those who did support the Emergency Operations Center, the staff, Director Ickes, Director Seymour. Thank you all for doing that. And as Mr. Van de Vate said, hopefully that was one and done.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you. Thank you so much, Dwight. You all are doing a great job. We really appreciate it. Is there any other business to come before this board tonight?
Madam Chair, I do have an announcement, if I may.
Absolutely.
Just wanted to let all my colleagues know, and you might want to let your constituents know, especially if you are a West Knox County Commissioner, that the clerk's office in the Farragut location is now closed until further notice, as they are making extensive renovations to the Farragut Town Hall. So you might want to send those folks to the Cedar Bluff location. We are actively looking for another space to both expand our services in the Cedar Bluff area and provide for our Farragut folks too. So, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Jay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just as a general warning, and to all the commissioners and the constituents listening, there's been a new rash of email or text scams, phishing, malicious activity going out that somehow have gotten sort of everybody's cell phone number. And so just be aware if there's anybody asking you to click on anything in a text message. There's apparently a whole nother wave of, it's not just email, they've got everybody's cell phone number. And I can imagine a lot of people would be, it says something like, hey, your package wasn't delivered, and click here to verify your address, and that's all it takes. So just please be aware. It's been going around a lot lately, and I just sort of pass the word on to constituents as well. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a good good words of advice to recall. I'm not seeing any other lights. Before I adjourn, I want to remind everyone that it only takes 32 muscles to smile and 70 to frown. So on those words of wisdom, I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you.